Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Welcome to stream. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Hopefully everybody's doing good. All of that good stuff. I'm here. I'm here. I'm live. I'm sorry that I'm a lot later than I said I would be. I said I would start around 5 o'clock. It is now 7 o'clock. I apologize for that, but I got caught up in some important stuff, and it is just what it is. But I do apologize for that. I have been pretty on time lately, so hopefully that gives me a little bit of leeway. People aren't too, like, hey, what the fuck? But I can understand that it's not great for me to say I was going to start at a specific time and then not. But I think most people who do, tune into my streams know that my start time can be pretty all over the place. So hopefully, fuck, I just grinded my teeth. That hurt. Hopefully people, can kind of understand. But I am here streaming again today, every day, as usual. A little bit later into the day. I don't really know how to fix my schedule. I don't know. Hopefully, it'll just kind of course correct. It kind of does it by itself. It kind of just like my schedule just slowly moves later and later into the day until it just resets. So honestly, we're just gonna fucking wing it and just maybe I just always wing it. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't even fucking care about a schedule. I like to stream once a day though, no matter what time of the day it is. I don't know. It makes it feel like a daily stream kind of thing. I like that system better, but I don't know. But hopefully everybody's doing well. Welcome to the stream. Fluffkins, hello. Welcome. It's good to see you. If you can, actually, Fluffkins, as a moderator duty, could you remind me when we start playing DBD to tweet? Could you remind me to do that? If it's not too much trouble. I will most certainly forget. So, just when I start playing DBD, remind me to put out a tweet. Because the tweet that I put out usually at the start of the stream is like based on what game I'm going to play, but I was starting with the Tarkov stuff because so I put out a Tarkov specific tweet, then I'll put out a different DVD tweet later. But I would appreciate that. Thank you. If you forget, it's okay. It's not your fault. But today's plan is a little bit of a variety of things. Actually, quite a variety of things. First of all, we're gonna read the Tarkov patch notes, the 0.15 patch notes for the new wipe that happened a couple days ago. I have not played Tarkov because I'm not super interested in this wipe. I think that this wipe is a little bit of a concerning one. But I am curious to read the patch notes personally. I think that I do want to read the patch notes. Because I think it'll be interesting to see what people are talking about or what has been changed, and to see if my fears and kind of worries for this wipe are fixed in any way. And I thought it'd be fun to read them on stream because obviously there's a lot of people that watch my stream that play Tarkov, and I want to talk about them, and there might be some people who are interested in hearing me talk about them. So I thought, not a big deal, read them on stream. It's about an hour maybe of like just reading the patch notes. After the patch notes, there's a couple game trailers and stuff that I kind of want to watch, mainly being like Civ 7, the new Dying Light game, Borderlands 4, which I'm super excited for potentially. I'm kind of on the fence. Anima as well. Sadly had to go to bed before the stream, he said in chat. But he did give me a link to a video about the Borderlands movie, kind of like a skit, I think, like a animated skit that he thought I would find funny. So we will watch that as well. So a little bit of React content, a little bit of reacting to some game trailers, and maybe a funny video. And then after that, we're gonna play some chill DBD for probably like 3 to 4 hours, something like that. Nothing specific in the DBD, just maybe a little bit of fun. You know what I mean? Actually, there's a challenge I could do. We could do a little bit of a challenge. We could, actually. That's a great idea. We can do that. That's kind of a fun idea. So we'll probably do that. But yeah, maybe we'll do the challenge tomorrow, actually. Maybe just a little bit of chill DBD today. A little bit of chill DBDs. I don't know. We'll see how I feel when we get around to the DVDs. But we're going to read the Tarkov patch notes for now. That's what we're going to do real quick. So let me bring that up on stream. Bring that up on stream, and let's read those Tarkov Patchnotes, shall we? Let's see what we got. See what we got. So the game did wipe a couple days ago. I have watched a little bit of gameplay since the wipe because I still love Tarkov. I do think that the direction they're taking the game is kind of concerning, but I do love me some Tarkov. So I do think that I kind of want to check it out and see what we got going on here. I'm just gonna cut that off because it's a bit neater. And let's see what we got. So 0.15, very clean number. I can appreciate that. And it did happen 2 days ago or so. So that is pretty cool. Update features a full profile wipe, obviously. We did watch the trailer. The trailer was pretty fucking sick. I'm not going to watch it again because I did watch it like... Maybe we should watch it. It was pretty cool. Fuck, you know what? Let's watch it. I kind of enjoyed the trailer. The trailer was pretty sick. The trailer was pretty sick. Let me bring that trailer. That trailer was pretty sick, so we can watch it on stream. I think that's fair. Watch a little trailer. Pretty cool. Yeah. It's a little bit, wait. A little bit cut off. There you go. This is a pretty sick trailer. I've already watched it a couple times personally, but it is pretty cool. And he makes some good ass music. A very cool trailer. Very cool trailer. Gene Byrne, Nikita always make some great ass fucking music. It's a shame that the game doesn't actually play out like that. Because obviously, like, the trailer is not what the game actually plays like, which is a bit of a shame. But the trailers that they make are really, really cool, to be fair. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. Your headset looks great. It is very broken, but it's kind of hard to tell. At least on camera. It is very old and very broken. It is a HyperX Cloud Stinger, I think. I know it's HyperX, but I think it's a HyperX Cloud Stinger. Yeah, HyperX Cloud Stinger. That's what it is. It's very old at this point, and so it's kind of busted. But it lasted a long time. Like HyperX headsets, yeah. I mean, it's a good headset. And it's not too expensive, so not too expensive, and it lasted me a long time. It's just a little bit broken because it's old as shit, and I haven't had the money to replace it, sadly. But it is a pretty solid headset. I've liked it a lot, and I had a friend who had the exact same headset, so seems like a good one. But I haven't had that many headsets in my lifespan, so I don't know the quality specifically. But that trailer was pretty cool. Did feature a lot of the factory rework, pretty much, and then it did show the boss very briefly at the end. But you obviously don't really see that much of the boss. It doesn't show that much, but I think the patch notes do have some more information. We can start reading. We can do a little bit of reading. And we can see what we got. We watched the trailer just because I've seen it already, but might as well watch it. So it did feature a full profile wipe, obviously, and the new content factory rework. All textures and geometry of the plant building, its interior rooms, cellars, structures, and machinery have been completely redesigned while maintaining the general dimensions and layout of the original location. It sounds like a lot of pointless work. I don't really know why they did this. I guess just to make the map look better. I mean, it is very immersive. I've always said that hobby or passion, both. I feel like your hobby is usually your passion. I've always said this, that BSG makes really good map design, and it kind of feels like a single player game. Like, it's very immersive and stuff like that. They always do like good storytelling, even in a multiplayer game. And they do make their maps look really nice, but I don't really feel like there's much of a purpose to it, and it's a bit of a shame that they put as much work into it as they do, because I feel like they could create more locations and stuff otherwise. But it wouldn't really be Tarkov if they didn't, because the depth to the locations is kind of what makes Tarkov Tarkov, but I feel like a lot of people don't really appreciate it, sadly. A lot of people just think of it as like a multiplayer FPS game, and they kind of don't really get that kind of immersion in that atmosphere, which is a bit of a shame. So I mean, they just wanted to make the map look nice, I guess. All textures and geometry, like it's just they redesigned the map while maintaining the dimensions and layout of the original map. I don't really even know why Factory needed a rework, to be honest. I don't know why they didn't just add new stuff to it, but I guess it's because the map was so old. I feel like it played well. I don't know. It just needed like a little bit more space and more things to loot. I feel like was the big thing. It just needed more space and more things to loot, and you could play Factory pretty normally. But I mean, maybe that's exactly what they did, right? So, but I just don't know why they needed to rework everything and not just add stuff on top. But I mean, it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just a lot of effort to put in for not much return, I feel like. But rooms, basements, and workshops have been refined while maintaining the large-sized objects of the original location. I don't know exactly what that means, other than just the rooms have been redesigned while keeping the same look of the rooms, basically. Large-sized objects. I don't know what that means. Some areas of the plant and the cellar area that connects all 4 workshops have been expanded. Added outdoor areas around the plant. So this is kind of what I mean, that it is good to, like, they needed more space. So I think that this is probably just a very, very good thing. And added several new crosswalks at dead-end locations. So I assume this means that the traveling points, like the rafters you can climb in, they're all connected. like a little bit more instead of having dead ends, because there used to be dead ends that only some like rafters would be dead ends. Or just maybe some of the walls have been blown out a little bit more, because you can see some of that in the trailer. So improve the upper level area in the workshops for easier accessibility. It did seem like from the trailer and from what I've seen that it's just a lot smoother to get around factory. There's a lot more, like, less choke points and less specific ways to get places, and more of the places are more interconnected. So adjusted the spawns and extracts, which is a good thing, obviously. Adjusted the spawns and extracts for PMCs and scavs to match the expanded areas. That's good. I kind of wish that they would get rid of the factory key thing. I don't know if they did, but I would hope that they did. Because the idea of needing a key to extract and actually play the map normally is really dumb. But maybe they would have kept it. Maybe they like that. I'm not sure. Improve the AI behavior for all location layout changes. So that's just making sure that the AI works on the new location. Redistributed the loot in containers throughout the location. Hopefully there's like actually decent loot on factory. Hopefully. But I'm not sure. I would hope so. But they might have just spread the loot out. But they needed to increase the loot. I would assume that they would do that, though. Add a new task to the location. So this is, I have seen a couple of these tasks. It seems like they're early game tasks, which is kind of fine. I think more tasks on factory is good. People have more reason to go there other than just PvP. I think that's kind of cool. People will play the raids a little bit slower, actually try and play the raid, because you need to not get run-throughs, hopefully, in those tasks. So you kind of need to, like, actually wait a little bit or get a kill or something. So people are going to, like, actually try and be playing the map and get to their objective, which will make the map feel a little bit more natural. New boss, Partisan. At least at the start of the wipe, it'll make the map feel more natural, which I guess is all that really matters. Added a new boss called Partisan. Not much is known about his background. People say that he is a combat veteran and has been obsessed with tripwires and booby trapping since those days. He is on good terms with Jaeger. Their goals and moral compasses seem to be aligned, or perhaps it's their military past that binds them together. Partisan holds firm to his principles in Tarkov, going after people he believes to be honorless and hunting them down, whether they be PMCs or scavs. He has no ties to other local bosses and tries not to cross paths with them. His view on traitors is similarly negative, with the exception of Jaeger. Your standing with Fence has no effect on Partisan's attitude towards you, and it cannot be increased or decreased by helping or killing him. Boss appears in forest-type locations. He is more likely to appear in a raid with low karma PMCs. In this case, Partisan will hunt those players down. If there are scavs with low karma in the raid, they will also become his targets. However, any player has to be ready for the traps and expect a firefight when encountering this boss, regardless of their karma. Partisan prefers a stealthy approach, taking advantage of the terrain, setting traps in advance, and only then engaging in open combat. The process of preparing and exploring a location takes up most of his time, while open confrontations are less frequent. When fighting against multiple opponents, he can lure one of the players to his booby traps, which he sets up beforehand. The boss acts alone. He installs tripwires, actively uses grenades, can move quietly through the terrain, and track his target for a long time across the whole location. This is really interesting. So it's not based on Fence karma. They wanted to clear that up, which is good. So he, like, it sounds really good in theory, like a really cool AI, like an alien isolation type AI where it's like, it's thinking, you know what I mean? Like, and it's trying to, like, outsmart you and outplay you and that kind of thing. But I don't know how well Tarkov is going to do that. Like, there's potential because the Tarkov AI is actually really quite solid when it is, but there's also times where it is dumb as fuck and just looks like easy mode bots that you can just, they just stand there and let you headshot them. So it's like a bit of a mixed bag with Tarkov. Like, the AI can be really, really, really good. So it's like there's potential for it to be pretty cool. So I don't know. Added a new hidden parameter, karma. So it's actually hidden. This is interesting. So this isn't PMC karma. This is just karma in general, because it happens to scavs as well. So they kind of alluded that it was going to be PMC karma, but it's not. That's interesting. So the karma value changes depending on the player's actions. Generally, it can be increased by adhering to a more open playstyle and decreased for a dishonest playstyle. The number of triggers that change the value of karma will always be increasing, and the triggers themselves will be adjusted and balanced further. In some cases, karma changes can be tracked by a distinctive sound notification. Huh. So the player base is going to have to figure out what these things are. It's going to be data mined eventually, which really sucks. Because it would be cool if it was a bit more of a mystery, except for the things that they obviously want to be obvious. Good thing you quit already. No, I feel like I would have pretty good karma. Because I don't really camp and I don't really like exit camp and stuff. Like that's the main things that they seem to be like seem to think that is going to be this negative karma that they've kind of stated is people probably betraying other scavs, I would assume, people exit camping, and people like just camping in general. But I don't do any of those things, so I don't know that I would have had that dishonest karma. Why do you think I would have a dishonest playstyle? I'm curious. I don't think that describes how I play. At all, to be honest. I don't know, it's interesting. I'm sad that this is gonna be data mined. I don't, just joking about all the newbies you kill. Oh no, yeah, I do kill a shit ton of newbies. It's not on purpose though. They just happen to be in the firing line. That's all I'm saying. No, yeah, I don't think they would apply it to the newbies. But people do joke about how many newbies I kill. I think people would joke about that with every person who plays Tarkov a lot though. Because whenever you kill a newbie, it does not feel fair. I don't think there would be anything like that though. I'm really curious what it's gonna be, but I wish it was more of a mystery. Obviously, if you're getting hunted by Partisan, you would know that you have low karma, but you would have no idea what caused it. But sadly, it will be data mined because that's just how gaming is these days. So everybody will know. Mysteries like this never stay unsolved. But they did say that they're going to be changing it all the time and adjust it and balanced. Maybe they could adjust it on purpose just to throw people off. You know what I mean? Who knows? So this is really interesting, and I'm not a big fan of this. This is new game event marathon. So they're dropping an event with an achievement right as the wipe happens, which I really don't like. I don't know. I just don't think that that's great, to be honest. But I feel like they're testing this, and that's the reason they're doing it. So during the marathon event, location transits will only be available in the corresponding game mode. So you can like select that you want to do marathon, and then you can play marathon mode, and it's only available in PvP, which is interesting. And you receive a unique achievement for completing it. And after the event is over, all the location transits will become available in all raids. So what it is it's the goal that they wanted Tarkov to be originally, where all the maps are connected, but it's different raids instead of like an open world type thing. So if you are in interchange and you go to a certain spot, you can then extract to customs, and then you're in a customs raid. You know what I mean? You go through a load screen, and then boom, you're in customs. And then now you can extract from customs and go to factory if you want to. And if you want to go to labs, you have to go from streets to labs and then back to streets, that kind of thing. So it's a really cool idea for Tarkov. And I talked about this before the wipe when Nikita teased this stuff. He was like, he showed off the transits and stuff. And I talked about there's like no point to doing this. You know what I mean? Like if you're not able to deposit loot, it's just kind of a punishment to go to another map instead of stay. But obviously they're doing it for the achievement now, which obviously gives a point to it. And you are able to deposit some loot, which was a good system. I did mention that, like if you're able to deposit some loot, there will be some worth to it. People also recommended like, oh, maybe you can go into specific raids with higher loot in it. But the raids would be pretty empty, so I'm not a big fan of that. And it does seem like you transition to raids with other people who aren't playing Marathon in this. So it doesn't really seem like there's much reason to do it other than the event and the achievement. And after the event is over, the location transits will become available in all raids, not just for people playing Marathon mode. But it doesn't seem like there's much of a point. Like, why would you go from one map to another instead of just playing the map you want to play? Because of the way Tarkov is, you're going to be thirsty. You might even be injured. I don't know if they're going to like heal your CMS limbs back to full after. But you might be thirsty, hungry, low on ammo. Your armor might be fucked up. You might be low on meds. You know what I mean? Like, you might have you'll have a bag full of loot. You'll be able to deposit some of it, but not a lot of it. You have to pay to deposit the loot as well. It just doesn't really seem like there's much point. Especially since on Tarkov, spawn is like one of the most dangerous parts of a raid. So you load into another raid after just getting out of another one into the most dangerous part of the raid. It's not like you like load into like a bit of a chill raid and you kind of, choose what you want to do in that next raid and play it safe. It's like you load into another raid and you're immediately thrown into combat a lot of the time on pretty much every map. So I just don't really see any point that anybody's going to use the transit stuff after the event is over. The event's cool, but I don't really like the idea of putting the event at the start of a wipe. But I think maybe they're doing it to test how many people are interested in it and how it feels to actually play Tarkov that way, and see like how they can implement something similar to this in the future, because it's something that they wanted for the game since it's like inception. Or conception? Conception. Yeah, so added the ability to travel from one location to another. So this will be after the event is over. To move to another location, the player must enter the transit zone and select the appropriate option in the context menu. You can only available after 7 minutes from the start of the raid, so you can't do run-throughs. During the transit, the player will be able to transfer some of the items found in the raid, which will be moved to stash for a certain price. The price isn't too expensive, but it's only some items. Like it's quite a small little square, maybe like a 4x6 or something like that. It's like a little bit of like a rectangle, like a rectangle upwards. So it's not super big. After transferring the items, the transit timer will begin. When activating the transit and transferring items, the ability to exit the current location will become unavailable, and the player will be forced to use the transit. Yeah, so you have to go to another map after you deposit the items. So you can't deposit items and then go back to your stash or stay in the raid, if that makes sense. Oh no, you can't stay in the raid, I guess. Oh, the ability to exit the current location will become unavailable. So you probably can't use other extracts either. You have to go back to that extract and then leave. So you probably could stay in the raid, probably send some items off, stay in the raid, but then you have to go to another map after the raid. So there's no real point to doing that, because then your backpack's just more full. You know what I mean? So that doesn't seem super worth. Webcam's like a little bit high up. Which is good, because you wouldn't want people to just be able to deposit items super easily. Although you can do it with the BTR, so. When attempting to transit in a group, players can use the transit only if all living members of the group are in the transit zone. Okay, so you can't just send off some people. Several players who are not in the same group use the transit at the same time. They'll be transferred to the next location together. Interesting. Solo players can join a group and also transit to the next location together. Interesting. So you can go with other people into a new raid. That's kind of sick, honestly. People don't really like work together but that much in Tarkov, but it's an option. Kind of cool. The available transit directions are marked with a dotted line on the location selection screen. Cool. So it's just like how the map has always worked or looked, but it's like they're actually connected now, which is kind of cool. Added the marathon achievement for visiting all locations in one raid. Yeah, that's just an achievement, but it's gonna be gone. Or no, you'll still be able to get the achievement though. No, it's only for completing the marathon event. Huh. So is marathon mode going to be over? Yeah, okay, so marathon mode is going to be over. But maybe I'll still be able to get the achievement? I don't know how that works. That's weird. Unique achievement. Oh, maybe there's 2 different achievements. That might make sense. Because they stated here and they stated there. So there might be 2 different achievements. There's a unique achievement for the event, and there's an achievement just for doing it outside of the event as well. Added the tripwire installation feature. This is, I don't understand why we need these in the game, to be honest. Like, grenade launchers are fun, but nobody's gonna have fun setting up tripwires. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like an epic way to kill people. It's more just like, ha ha ha, I killed this dude and he's mad about it. You know what I mean? It's not like an epic thing. You know what I mean? Like, grenade launchers are at least a cool piece of kit. You know what I mean? Like, it can be super rare and people can be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm using a fucking grenade launcher, I feel like a badass. I'm using this extremely rare, expensive weapon, that kind of thing. And you can feel cool about it. But a tripwire is not going to feel cool. It's just more like you're going to feel like a bit of an asshole, and it's going to be kind of funny. You know what I mean? So I don't really feel like this has a place in the game. Like, I get that it's realistic. People be setting up tripwires, like makeshift tripwires and stuff. But it's like, just because it's realistic does not mean that it's needed in the game. So I don't understand why they're adding this. I feel like Tarkov really doesn't need anything like this. I feel like it's just going to, like, create unhealthy gameplay, but whatever. So, added the tripwire installation feature, a single-use consumable item, the tripwire installation kit, is required to install the tripwire. The item cannot be found in raid or bought on the flea market. The kit will be available for purchase after completing Jaeger's task chain. So it's a quest chain, and then you're going to be able to buy them. There's probably a limit of how many you can buy or reset, but you can probably save up and buy a whole bunch of them. They're probably relatively expensive, but probably not expensive enough. And from what I've heard, people have already finished the task chain and unlocked them. So it's not particularly hard to do because it's only been 3 days and some people already have it unlocked. So yeah, it's going to be pretty common to see tripwires everywhere, which is just kind of gross. When the item is in the inventory, the player gets access to the tripwire mode by using the B key on appropriate grenades. The grenade must be in the hands to switch to tripwire mode. So you pull out a grenade, then you press B, and if you got a tripwire kit in your inventory, it'll pull out the tripwire kit and wrap it around the grenade. The tripwire has a minimum and maximum installation length. It can be placed on any flat or slightly inclined surface. So it's like most other games where you set up a tripwire, you set up one side and then you set up the other side, I would assume. Interesting. Tripwires can be activated in a number of ways. By shooting the wire from a short distance. It's going to be noisy, though. By hitting the wire with explosive shrapnel. It's going to be noisy. By hitting the wire with any physical object, including players, bots, and items. You can't throw items, though. No matter what, it's going to be noisy. They added bear traps to DBD. I feel like you meant to say Tarkov. Or maybe you didn't? I'm confused. Tarkov, yes. Okay. Kind of a bear trap. During activation, the tripwire does not explode instantly. I may be stupid. You're not stupid. You're not stupid. It happens. During activation, the tripwire does not explode instantly, but with the fuse delay specified in the grenade's description. So you can do impact grenades potentially. Oh no, because the fuse delay. Oh, I wonder if it works with an impact. So after you hit the tripwire, will there be a noise? Oh. Tripwires can be disarmed. To do so, approach the booby trap grenade and disarm it through the context menu. Disarming takes a certain amount of time. Having a multi-tool in your inventory significantly reduces the disarming time. You can put multi-tools on your special toolkit, so people can just run around with a multi-tool pretty often. It is going to add some weight to your kit, but that's not too bad, honestly. After disarming, you can pick up the grenade using the tripwire. Well, you get a free grenade from it. Tripwires disarm on their own after a certain amount of time. Wow, okay, so they don't stay active forever. Interesting. Okay, well, it seems like they actually did this in a relatively safe way. It's not actually super egregious because of these 4 things at the bottom here. It could be a lot worse, but I just don't understand what these are really gonna like accomplish. Like maybe it'll be some cool tactical gameplay. You can set up a tripwire so that way you like stop people from flanking you and stuff. I do feel like it just promotes campy gameplay though. Like it's just gonna promote camping. You know what I mean? And Tarkov is a bit of a campy game already, so I don't feel like promoting it more is a good idea. I don't know. It feels iffy. I just don't really feel like we need that in the game. So far, well, I'll recap once we're through everything. Add the ability to mount weapons and use bipods. This is cool. To mount a weapon, the player must aim at a suitable horizontal or vertical surface and press the mount weapon key. That's really nice, actually, that it's specifically a button, because I hate when it does it automatically. I hate when it does it automatically in games, when like they have a mount feature and it just automatically mounts your gun when you aim down sights next to a wall or something. I hate that. It's actually really nice. That was my immediate problem with the weapon mounting thing. But The fact that it's a separate key is actually really cool. The recoil and stamina consumption is reduced when firing a mounted weapon. It's cool. I can see people using this, actually. But I also feel like it's another campy thing. It promotes camping, bipods, and mounting weapons. To mount the weapon on a bipod, press the toggle bipod key, and then point at a suitable horizontal surface and press the mount weapon key. That's too much. That's too much. That should have just been one button. Mount weapon should just be the same for both the bipod and mounting weapon. It's just if you have a bipod on the weapon, it should just activate. Yeah, that's like too many key presses. The recoil, stamina consumption, and weapon sway is greatly reduced when firing a bipod-mounted weapon. Makes sense. Mounting the weapon while prone is only available if the bipods are installed and deployed on the weapon. Gotcha. Okay. You can only mount your weapon while prone if you have a bipod, but that'll make your weapon pretty much a fucking laser beam, like fully auto laser beam. Especially things with like crazy high fire rate. But not everything has a bipod. Not like very many fast firing guns have bipods except for LMGs, so that'll be too many options for that kind of thing. But it's again campy gameplay. Going prone with a fucking bipod is very campy. The icon in the corner of the screen shows whether the weapon is mounted or signals that the given surface is not suitable for mounting. Well, it's nice that there's a little bit of an indication. Okay. There's new hideout zone. The gear rack zone is added to the extended part of the hideout and has 3 upgrade levels. Each level adds a mannequin, which can be used to display any gear equipable on your PMC. It's kind of cool. You can equip gear from the mannequin or exchange the gear already equipped by your PMC for the mannequin's gear. Nice. You can set up some kits while you're waiting for your friends and stuff. And you can just easily have kits ready to go. Pouch items and special slot items do not apply to equipping and exchanging. Fair enough. Mannequin gear is displayed in the list of kits window. You can equip a kit from a mannequin there. That's nice. This is pretty cool. This is actually a good, nice thing to add. You can display it on your mannequins just for cool factor, or you can have extra kits lined up to go. Like in between raids, you can set them up and then be ready to go as soon as you die. Pretty nice. The new cultist circle is located outside the main hideout. You can sacrifice up to 5 items to the cultist circle. The value of each sacrifice item is added up. This total determines the value of items received as a gift from the cultist. The cultist cannot deliver items while you're in the hideout. You have to go and play the raids. Interesting. If the value of a single sacrifice is above a certain threshold, there's a 25% chance to receive items needed for active tasks and unfinished hideout zones. Interesting. The value of the sacrifice items is further increased by the bonuses from Sacred Amulet and Hideout Management skill. Players who have purchased the Unheard Edition will have the Cultist Circle built instantly. So, pay to win advantage right here. Because you are able to sacrifice things for items needed for active tasks and unfinished hideout zones. So, if the only active tasks that you have and the only unfinished hideout zones you have, very rare stuff, and you put in money above that threshold, you'll be able to get stuff. So it is a pay to win advantage here for people who pay $200. They get to have this for free and then use it to be able to finish their difficult tasks and stuff. Stuff like stimulants, like the stims that you need for colleagues, or some of the harder hideout upgrades like the LEDX, or like solar power, or the things that you need to get from labs and stuff like that. So, and potentially some of these things aren't going to be able to get like received from these, and also potentially it doesn't go up in value that much. Like just because you hit the 25% chance doesn't mean that you'll get something that you need if the value doesn't match up, if that makes sense. Like say the only things you need are like millions of rubles worth. But obviously it's not going to give you one of those things because you don't have enough value to reach millions of rubles. Does that make sense? But it'll be found in raid, which means you can get some things that you need. So this is a pay to win advantage. Not a crazy one, don't get me wrong, but it is a pay to win advantage. So that is one thing that I was worried about, that there will be more pay to win advantages into the game. Like I expected, there's one right away. AI enemy reaction system. Added variation in AI behavior when spotting another AI or player in PvE mode. Oh, PvE. Not a big deal. Behavior model is chosen depending on the lore relationship between the factions. Possible reactions: instant aggression and attack. So that'll be scavs versus PMCs and like bears versus USECs. Friendly unless shown aggression, probably 2 USECs or 2 bears or multiple scavs. Total friendliness. Okay, maybe it's interesting. Maybe it's scavs towards PMC is friendly unless shown aggression. Maybe bears and USECs instantly attack each other. And then total friendliness is like USECs versus USECs. Warning and attacking if not obeyed. Interesting. Maybe it'll be like scav bosses, 2 scavs. Neutral unless shown aggression. Maybe scavs versus other scavs. Interesting. The choice of whether to be aggressive depends on the mood of the bot in the faction of the target. For example, if an AI bear encounters an AI USEC, they are more likely to engage them, but not necessarily 100%. Than they would if they encountered another AI bear. The decision whether to be aggressive or peaceful is made for both player scavs and player PMCs. The chance of meeting a more aggressive AI PMC varies depending on the location. Interesting. For example, on Ground Zero under level 20, the bots are more friendly, and in the lab, they are the most aggressive. Faction interactions will be implemented and balanced further in both PvE and PvP modes. Faction interactions will be implemented, balanced further in PvE. I guess the AI, like scavs interacting with other scavs and bosses. This is good, and it's cool for PvE mode, but it's not that interesting because it's PvE. But it is good because that's one of the major things that PvE was lacking, to actually be like more fun. So it is cool, but it is just PvE, which is kind of the lesser version of the game in my opinion. Uzi, make friends. You can make friends. You can make some friends. Uzi added to the game. Uzi Pro pistol and Uzi Pro SMG, which is pretty cool. It's a cool little weapon. SR3M, compact assault rifle. There's the Magnum Research Deagle. Couple different versions of it. Lots of different versions of it. Different ammo. The M60E4, M60E6, and the M60E6 FDE. I've seen the M60. I have not seen the other weapons in action, but I have seen the M60. Seems pretty cool. The M60 seems pretty fucking nasty, honestly. You can buy it off the flea market, I think, so it's not that high tier, but it seems pretty fucking nasty good. So I don't know. It seemed pretty solid. You might see people using it a lot. Updated weapon models for the AS Val, VSS, the Keter B, and the Clin. So that'll just be animations and models and stuff, I think. New caliber, which is 50 action press. That is a big fucking round. I wonder what the stats are on that, but 50 AE is huge. That's for the Deagle, obviously, so interesting. And then it has 4 ammo types, which is FMJ, JHP, Copper Solid, and Hawk JSP. Interesting. New weapon attachments, always a good thing. New weapon attachments are always pretty cool. Adjusted the functionality for pistol grips on the Makarov PM pistol. There's a quick drop button on the grip. The interaction animation with the pistol is changed. Oh, that's kind of cool. So the animation will be changed depending on what grip you have and if it has like a real life usability. Interesting. Improved the AUG A1 and AUG A3 visuals. Updated the grip animation. Added a visually operating gas piston. Oh, that's pretty cool. That'll be pretty smooth looking, pretty sleek. Added some animation variations depending on the installed attachments for new and updated weapons. Interesting. That's quite nice. Updated the grenade animations. Added new types of equipment, armor, helmets, loot. New options for character customization. And then quality of life improvements. Added the ability to smoothly adjust zoom for the following optics: TAC 30, Voodoo, Mark 4, March Tactical, Razor, Schmidt and Bender, Tango 6, Enzolt, ATACR, Schmidt and Bender, NC Star, KMZ, or the IP59, the IP69. And default hotkeys for smooth zoom adjustment are Alt plus scroll up and scroll down. This actually is really nice. This is like huge. And it really makes scopes even more personal preference because It's like the level of zoom. Like before it was personal preference, but now pretty much no scope in the game is like better than others. You can't really argue it because a lot of these are just going to be able to be zoomed to the level where you actually want to use them. Like I did not like the voodoo whatsoever because I felt like the zoom was too much, but now I can just not zoom that much. I can just have it on like a 1 to 4 times because that's the zoom I prefer. And I probably will prefer the voodoo over the TAC 30 because the TAC 30's reticle is not as good as the voodoo's in my opinion, but the zoom levels on the TAC 30 were really nice. So this is a really, really nice thing. It's obviously how scopes work in real life, so it's nice that that's how they work in game now because it is a big deal. So that's a that's a realism and a good gameplay change. You know what I mean? At once, which is kind of what you want when a game is trying to be realistic. You want things that fit the realism and improve the gameplay, not just fit the realism and not just fit the gameplay. You know what I mean? So that's a big thumbs up. Selecting grenades with G. A new icon with hotkey G is available on the quick access bar. It will display a grenade the player will equip first. You can select the specific grenade by holding G. The drop-down list displays only unique grenades with their respective quantities. That's actually really cool. This is a nice change because before it was kind of a pain in the ass. You could never really have multiple different types of grenades in your hotbar because you would always throw the first one in your hotbar and maybe it's not the one you wanted. So that's really nice as well. A little bit more like you can control what you're throwing a little bit more, so you can bring different types of grenades. So you can bring like 1 impact and 2 regular grenades, and then if the situation arises where you need the impact, boom, you can pull it out and throw it with only like a small delay probably than just pressing G. So that's pretty cool. Add the ability to activate tactical devices and flashlights by pressing or holding a hotkey. What? Added the ability to activate tactile devices and flashlights by pressing or holding a hotkey. What? Does this mean that you can activate all of your flashlights? No, because that's already how it works. I don't know. That confuses me. I had the ability to manually enter values in the game settings. For example, when adjusting mouse sensitivity. That's nice. It's always nice when a game actually lets you like type in the amount of sensitivity you want. And rather than like try and move the bar, because sometimes it's like really like if you want to get like a very specific number, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So that's always good. Hotkey adjustments updated the sorting order of hotkeys in the controls menu. Action melee weapon has been reassigned to you. Melee attack has been reassigned to you on double click. Fine. Simplify the objectives for tasks set up in long run, so they made these less kills, which is nice. Completely remove trade offers for class 6 body armor, plate carriers, ballistic plates, and helmet modifications from traders. These items can now only be found in raids. This is really cool, actually. This is a big one. This is a big one. So, this means no more slap plates. Or was slap wasn't tier 6. Slap was tier 5. But no more. What are they called? The plate around the fucking head of the bastion. I guess it's just a bastion plate. No more bastion plates. Which was probably the best helmet. And no more like just being able to get class 6 body armors for super easily. So that's pretty interesting. So this does mean that people are going to be less tanky, which is one of the big problems of last wipe with the armor changes, but I still don't think it really fixes the problem because the problem is that like class 5 armor is already incredibly tanky because it's multi-layered armor stacked on top of each other. Which is a shit show. So I don't know. I don't think that this fixes the problem, but it does make it a little bit less extreme. But class 6 body armor, people weren't going to be wearing class 6 that much anyways, except for the sweat lords. And the sweat lords are still going to be wearing it every now and then. But it will reduce it a lot because you're not able to buy it on the flea market or barter for it. So I think it will reduce it a lot. You'll see class 6 very rarely. When you see a class 6 plate on somebody, you're always taking it out of the raid because it's going to be like one of the rarest commodities. And it's one of the strongest items in the game at this point because armor's so fucking broken strong. So Change the availability on ammo on the flea market. Now, all ammo with less than 42 pen is allowed on the flea market, with a few exceptions. This doesn't fix anything. This does not fix anything because people are wearing class 5 fucking armor super easily. And this class 5 armor is like super easy to unlock, and it's stacked with class 3 underneath it. It's like 42 pen ammo is still going to take like 6 shots to even start penetrating their armor. And then the penetrations are going to do so little damage because you're still going through 2 layers until you fucking like, you have to put so much damage into it. Unless there's more changes, this doesn't fix the problem. People are still going to be tanky as fuck. But it seems like they like the tankiness because they haven't changed it, other than making some, like the extreme cases, a little bit less extreme. Like they're making the lower tier armor less effective and the highest tier armor rare, so you don't find it very often. But the highest tier armor is still going to be insane tankiness, and the high end armor is still going to be very tanky because they've only really nerfed the lower tier armor, and they've only really made the like highest tier rarer. They haven't nerfed it. So I don't feel like this fixes the problem, but I feel like it makes the extremes less bad. So maybe they're doing this to see how the game plays out, and then they're going to make some changes from there. Because if you get rid of the extremes, it's a little bit more easy to gauge the balance of things, if that makes sense. So potentially next wipe there will be better changes, or maybe in the middle of this one. We'll see. Sometimes they do drastic changes in the middle, like they did with the last one. So, increase the damage of 7.62 by 39, 5.45 by 39, and 9 by 21. By 21. Is 9 by 21 shrimp ammo? What is 9 by 21? Oh, is that just 9 by 18? This is very bright. What uses this? What guns use 9 by 21 ammo? The shrimp. Okay, yeah. The shrimp and the SR2M. Interesting. Shrimp and SR2M. I was right. It is the shrimp. So, wow, that shrimp gun, the SR2M is probably fucking solid now. Holy shit. It was already pretty fucking decent, but now it's probably even better. 7.62 by 39 and 545 definitely needed buffs. So this is quite nice. 7.62 less so, but 545 definitely needed one. And they slightly reduced the damage of some 5.56 caliber ammo. This is pretty good because 5.56 was a little bit too meta. I think 7.6 or 7.62 by 51, yeah, was a bit too like more meta. So I'm surprised to not see that nerfed a little bit. But it's cool to see 545 buffed. I don't think the shrimp ammo needed it, to be honest. And 7.62 could use like a little bit of a buff. I don't think 7.62 is bad as people think. People just don't give it the chance. But a buff will make people give it a little bit more of a chance. So, and I don't think it'll make it like overpowered or anything. So I think that's good. That's good. That's questionable. And this is good. I would have liked to see 7.62 by 51 get nerfed, personally. So, technical changes. Equipment clipping. Implemented the anti-clipping system. Now elements of helmets, glasses, masks, collars, headsets will be correctly displayed on the character with any combination. So this isn't true just yet. There is still some things that clip from what I've seen. But it's not a big deal. I really don't think this is that important. They kind of tease this as like a huge thing, but like, yeah, it's cool to look tactical. I get it. It's like immersion breaking, seeing your gear clip. But I think anybody who's used to multiplayer games doesn't really care that much. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I understand that they want to fix it, but I also don't think that this is like that exciting. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, but it's like kind of just like a little cool thing. It's not like huge. Animations. Rework the animation playback system to increase the accuracy of first and third person synchronization where possible. Nice. That's huge. In a multiplayer game, linking like the animations of what your character's doing to what everybody else is seeing is super important. So that's good. Optimize left shoulder animations for more smoothness. That's nice because it was like not super smooth. So that's nice. Added special door interaction animations. The number of interactive object animations will increase further in the future updates. That's cool. So when you interact with something, it'll be different depending on what you're interacting with. That's nice. Redesign the weather condition display system on the player's client. Fix the bugs that led to unpredictable weather conditions in the raid in certain cases. That's nice. So you can kind of tell what weather it actually is. It was mostly working before, but it's nice that it's a little bit better. Improve the cloud visuals. Clouds react to weather changes more realistically. Cool. Hopefully they don't just like zoom across the screen. Updated FSR technology to version 3.0. I don't know what that means. Remove support for SSR version 1X. I don't know what that means either. I do love the Tarkov rain. The Tarkov rain's nice. Switch the in-game season to summer. Now, wait one goddamn minute. That's not how that works. Oh, wait. It is how it works. No. Summer started in like July or something, right? I think summer started in July. But the seasons are a little bit different in Russia, I think. So I guess fall will be like around November and December, probably. And then winter's in like January. Because that's how it was last time. But yeah, I guess it does make sense. Because their seasons are a little bit different than mine. Yeah, perhaps accurate for them. No, yeah, I think it is. I think it is. It's weird that they're different, but I do know that. So that was my thinking as well. I was explaining. Improved the environment sound system. Developed a component that tracks the position and rotation of the listener and moves the source along a predetermined curve, changing not only the position of the source, but also its exposure angle. By changing the exposure angle of the sound, it becomes more natural. Implemented a large number of different sound sources to enhance immersion. For example, the flow of water through the pipes on Factory, the rats running in the vents, and many small details that are randomly played at the specific points. From the fall of pebbles to the interference of electricity in the generators and the air coming out of the boilers. Way too dank. I mean, this sounds good because it sounds like it'll sound more natural and it'll be easier to pinpoint where sounds are coming from. This is cool as well because it's just like immersion, thematic. It's cool to hear those different noises. I think that a lot of like people who play Tarkov are gonna think this is kind of pointless. I think though those are the people that the game isn't really made for, because like the game is supposed to be immersive, it's supposed to be atmospheric. It's not just an FPS. So like a multiplayer FPS, it's like, you know, it's supposed to be immersive. It's supposed to have those single player elements. So I think that stuff's really cool, and it sounds like the sound system, like this sounds good, but the sound system has always been kind of iffy, so I don't have great hopes for that. But hey, any help is good help, right? Sound system performance optimization, occlusion calculation, algorithm adjustments. Transfer the whole algorithm to multi-threaded calculations. That sounds good. Finalize the search and calculation of the angle between the source and the listener. Improve the use of depth to determine its effect on the sound. Improve the curves tuning, which is responsible for volume decay and sound propagation in complex geometry locations. With these adjustments, the overall sound is smoother with a better grasp of the sound source location. This all sounds good, but I don't know enough about this to really, like, this is not something that I have any expertise with whatsoever. So, I mean, it sounds good, and I do like that they're saying what the goal of this was for the people who don't understand this stuff. But I mean, it sounds solid. I mean, this sounds good. This one sounds good. You know what I mean? Transfer the whole algorithm to multi-threaded calculations. It sounds like they're putting in a lot of work to make the sounds more identifiable, more discernible where they're coming from, which is exactly what people like have issues with in Tarkov. So sounds good. And geometry and like occlusion and stuff. So it does seem like there's some good changes. And hopefully it is a lot smoother and you can better grasp where stuff's coming from. Improve the separation of weapon sounds and other sounds into different compressor channels. So this is for active headsets. Added the splitting of sound subgroups and increased the number of customizable parameters for more control. Adjusted the frequency response, noise reduction level, and compressor values, as well as their technical specifications to match the specs of the real headsets. Recorded the real active headsets that are used in the game, the sound of shooting, and environment sounds in them to allow further fine-tuning. The position of sounds positioning of sounds, distance awareness, and the sound of in-game active headsets were noticeably improved. All headsets have their own unique equalization, resulting in a different sound for all headsets. Wow, this is like peak realism, right? They took the real headsets that people use that are in the game, and they went and recorded actual sounds with them to see, like, actually create like customized like the actual headsets, basically recreate them in the game, which is really cool. And it does sound like they've like maybe made weapon noises less loud while you're wearing a headset. It does seem like pretty much everybody's gonna be wearing a headset now. Like there was times in the past where people didn't wear headsets. Last wipe, pretty much everybody was wearing a headset. Now I feel like even the people who hate the headsets probably aren't going to hate them as much, and so they're probably going to want to wear them too because of the advantages. So it's a good thing, but it does push the game more towards headsets. Like everybody wants to have a headset. It's so powerful. So, but I mean, it's making it more accessible for everybody to have a headset rather than necessary, if that makes sense. So it's not a bad change. It's just, just is what it is. But it is a good thing. If they're going to push that game in that push the game in that direction anyways, then they should make it so that everybody feels comfortable wearing the headset, so that some people aren't just forced not to use it because it makes them uncomfortable, like audio wise. Like as in it's too loud, or like just it sounds like it just doesn't sound good on their ears, kind of thing. But they're forced to use it anyways for the advantage. Anti-cheat update. Implemented protection against a series of exploits related to monitoring loot on player/locations using forbidden software. Implemented protection against a series of exploits related to network synchronization and unfair movement using forbidden software. This is, I think people were doing like weird animation bullshit with cheats, so that way their character was like in a weird animation so that you couldn't actually hit them because their model was not where they actually were, and they were like moving around the map in a weird way. I think that might be what that was. And then obviously, I guess this is like being able to tell what loot is where and what loot is on each person as well. So that seems good, but who knows how successful it is. Then we have some changes. Fix a number of visual bugs in geometry, textures, and cooling on all locations. Always a good thing. Fix the incorrect status of DSP transmitter and solo PvE raid if the player entered the hideout before the raid. Nice. So that was a bug with your lighthouse beacon wouldn't work. Fix the visual artifacts when using FSR 2.2 on Ground Zero and Streets of Tarkov. Whatever. Nice, I guess. Fix the synchronization of loot state in the container when the weapon was folded inside the container. That's nice, actually. I did notice that towards the end of the last wipe. I was having some issues with that. Fix an issue that caused the explosion effects of a thrown grenade to be missing in certain cases. That's a bug that's been in the game for a long time. I'll believe it when I see it that they fixed that. Fix the incorrect player dog tag status when transferring it through the BTR service. Don't know about that one. Fix the automatic vaulting triggering when the player interacted with the inventory with the vaulting and forward keys pressed. Nice. That was a big bug that was pretty bad last wipe. Fix the soft lock when using a weapon that was looted from an airdrop in the same raid in PvE mode. Fix the display of repair kit icons when using them from a container. Fix the incorrect bot spawn points in PvE. Fix the display of the killer's nickname on the post-raid screen in a situation where the killer died before the grenade they threw exploded. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So it should actually show the person's name instead of just saying that you killed yourself. That's nice. Fix the soft lock when closing inventory while click dragging weapons. This is probably actually done because so many posts were on Reddit when people would just die and it would say that they killed themselves and they got so confused. But it's because a grenade was thrown and then you killed the person who threw the grenade. And then it doesn't show the nickname. Fix the Torrey Pines Logic T12W sight display showing over the character's hands when fixing malfunctions. Fix the soft lock when closing inventory while click dragging weapons. This is nice. There is a lot of soft locks when you're like moving stuff in your inventory that like requires an animation and stuff. So that'll be one of those issues, but that's not going to be all of it, but that's nice. Fix the incorrect behavior of rogues when interacting with USEC faction players. Interesting. This could be actually pretty major depending on what that means. Fix the incorrect display of KD in short and full profile statistics. Like this could be nothing or it could be like super major. This is, I don't know what that is. Fix the incorrect display when sorting weapons by level on the mastering screens, whatever. Fix the incorrect display of the longest effective shot in player statistics. Fix the soft lock when interrupting medicine animations in certain cases. That's another huge one where you get locked in an animation. Fix the duplicate task conditions in certain cases. Fix the decal display in the hideout. Fix the insurance letter storage time for the unheard of edition. This is their pay to win advantage was broke towards the end of last wipe, but they fixed it, so their pay to win advantage is back. So how do I feel about this as a whole? Pretty lacking content-wise, which is what I expected. That's usually how Tarkov's wipe cycles work. They do one big content update and then one small content update. About twice a year they wipe, and it's usually one big wipe with lots of content and then one small wipe with smaller amounts of content. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, in terms of content, all you've pretty much got is the factory rework and the new boss and the new guns. That's about it. And then some new hideout stuff. Not really anything too major. There is some gameplay changes and the tripwires, to be fair. And there will be some new quests, but it's a pretty small content update. I think people will be done with this pretty quick. Like, if you look at this from a PvE standpoint, where people have everything unlocked, how many raids are they really going to get out of this new update, right? Factory rework, they can explore that for a little while, right? They can hunt down the new boss, right? They can do the event travel between maps, and they can fuck around with the tripwires a little bit and fuck around with some bipods for a little bit, build their gear rack, build the cultist circle, and spend some items in it, and use some of these new guns. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe like 7, 8 new guns, and that's it. So it's not that much content. It's a lot of like nice stuff though, don't get me wrong, but it's like a small amount of content. But that's kind of what I expected. That's usually how Tarkov is. And this doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But the factory rework, this sounds all good in my opinion. I hope that they actually made the map bigger and able to play more smoothly. Like, you can still PvP on it if you just want to PvP, but you can play the map a little bit more smoothly and play it like an actual Tarkov raid. And maybe a little bit more loot around the map, and hopefully got rid of the key needed to extract on the map. That'd be cool. The partisan boss is interesting, but just to recap the factory stuff, good. I hope that they did the 3 things I said, like made the map bigger so you can play it more smoothly, added more loot spread around the map, and got rid of the factory key. That's like the 3 main things I feel like the map needed. So hopefully that. I feel like the factory rework is like a little bit overdone though. Like, I don't understand why it was needed that badly. It wasn't like factory looked that bad. And I do feel like they added a lot of like clutter to the map, which looks like it's harder to PvP on, to be honest, just because there's a lot of like what would be the word, like undulations. Like, there's just like little holes everywhere in the ground, and there's like little bits of rubble which your character will get stuck on, and you're gonna be like changing elevation. Like, your head's gonna be going up and down as you walk up and down this rubble. Like, it just looks a little gross, to be honest, for PvP, but the map does look really nice, so I don't know. The new boss is interesting, and I'm curious how the karma will work. Sadly, people I think are gonna data mine it, but the new boss is interesting. I think that it's interesting. I hope that his AI is actually good. Like, it's cool, and it'll be like, it's kind of hard to make a judgment because we don't know what is going to be a dishonest playstyle by the devs. And I also, like, I don't know, like, because it could go either one of 2 ways. Like, this boss is so hard and punishing that if you don't adhere to what the devs want you to play like, then you are punished because this boss is going to kick your ass. Or this boss is kind of a pushover and you just get free loot delivered to you if you play this dishonest playstyle. Or the boss is like not rewarding and it's just kind of like whatever. And so, like, you never really get to experience it, and even when you do experience it, it's kind of lackluster. I don't really see this going that well, if that makes sense. Like, I don't see a world where this boss is like a cool thing, unless it was like on a per raid basis. I feel like if it was on a per raid basis, like, oh, you did some dishonest shit this raid, you know what I mean? Then it would be good. But like, the fact that it's like your account overall has karma is like kind of weird, because like I said, like, it's either like you're gonna get punished for not playing in the way the devs want you to play, which is like, it's completely up to them. They could choose good things like, oh, no extract camping, or they could choose bad things like, oh, people who use sniper rifles, get punished more. That's dishonest. You're not getting up close and personal to your kills. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like they are dictating what is a dishonest playstyle, and they're putting in something that is supposed to punish you for that playstyle. But is it really going to be a punishment, or is it just going to be free loot, or is it just going to be something that everybody wants to experience, and it's just going to be content that's only locked off to a certain part of the player base because you're not playing in the way the devs want you to play, unless you play in that it's weird. I don't know. I don't really see this being that good of a thing unless it was something that you can like affect really drastically all the time. So either it's in one raid or it's in like you can affect it a lot, if that makes sense. Like you can make drastic swings in one direction or drastic swings in the other direction. Like you can pay some money to reset your karma, or pay some money to up your karma, or you can, you go into like one raid and you kill a whole bunch of like, you kill or you sit by the extract for like 10 minutes, then your karma tanks. You know what I mean? Like, unless it was very drastic, I don't really see this being a good system. So I don't know. I'm not like super big fan of this, the way the boss works, but it'll be interesting to see. I think best case scenario, it ends up being a thing that you just don't really see that much, to be honest. Or the second best option is that it will. I mean, he does fight everybody, to be fair. He does fight everybody when you encounter him, but he's going to be hunting down people with low karma. Okay, that's not too bad, actually. I forgot about that. Yeah, he will be hunting down the people with low karma, which might mean that you get fucking owned. That's kind of what it sounds like a little bit more, actually. I forgot about that part. It was a lot of reading, obviously. So he's hunting down the people with low karma. So it does sound like you're going to get fucking owned by him, because the bosses in this game are like kind of fucking like they're terminators. You know what I mean? Like they laser beam you from across the map if they're good enough. I don't think he's going to be quite on that level, but I do think he's going to be pretty scary if he's already locked onto you. Like think like Goon Squad levels. Like he's locked on. You know what I mean? Like he's coming for you. Which is kind of scary. Especially since he can hunt you across the whole map. I mean, it sounds fucking awesome, but the thing is that you're gonna have no idea that's happening. That's the thing. If you knew it was happening, that would be kind of cool, actually. Maybe they should do that. Give you a little notification, like the bottom right, that says Partisan is hunting you. You know what I mean? Like something like that, or just like you feel like you're being watched, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like yes, it's kind of immersion breaking, but even better, not immersion breaking. You hear like a bird call or something like that. You know what I mean? You hear like a whistle or something like that off in the distance. That would be fucking scary, actually. That's a fucking cool ass idea. So that way you know you're being hunted. You have no idea where this noise comes from. It's vague. You know what I mean? It's just like in a vague direction. But you get a noise notification. Like you hear a whistle. And it's like, oh shit. He is out there. You know what I mean? He's looking for me. That kind of thing. That would be really cool. That way you know you're getting hunted, and it's not just, oh, he was hunting me and he surprised me and just laser beamed me and I died. I don't know. This boss is kind of iffy. I don't know if the mechanics are actually going to play out that smoothly. But we'll see. Hunting campers. Yeah, I mean, it'd be good if he was hunting campers, but like what counts as camping? That's the problem. The devs get to decide. Do they think sitting 5 minutes in one location is too long? Do they think sitting 10 minutes in one location is too long? How big do they think one location to camp in is? Do they only think that camping exits is not good? Or do they think camping like hotspots is not good? You know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know, like the idea that the devs get to dictate what a dishonest playstyle is just kind of means that you're kind of forced to play the game the way they want you to, which is something that I feel like Tarkov really has going for it, is the fact that there's so many different ways to play. So I'm not super big fan of that. I do think the karma system will get data mined, which is a shame. But maybe if they keep changing it, it'll be interesting. But I do maybe kind of want it to be data mined, thinking about it, because then we can know what a dishonest playstyle is. And we can make judgments on if it's actually a good thing, this karma system and the partisan boss and that kind of thing. Map-to-map travel, this is pointless, in my opinion, in the current state of things. It's pointless. I disagree. Like, I don't really like that they added an event right on the wipe day. I don't think that that's great. But my thought process is that they're testing things. You know what I mean? They're testing to see if people like that kind of game mode and how it works with low gear and at the start of a fresh wipe. That's the only reason I can think they did it, or they were doing it for the PvE people to have something to do. That's like the two options I can think of. So I don't really like the idea of dropping the event on like the start of the wipe, but I think they're testing things. That's my theory. Outside of the event and the achievement, this is pointless currently in its current like iteration. But I think again they're putting it out in like a first iteration, and they're going to add a point to do it in the future. They're going to see how many people are interested in it, how many people are doing it, how many people enjoy it, what the community consensus is, and then they'll kind of add some reason to interact with it. Because as it stands, after the event is over, unless you care about the achievement, you're not going to give a fuck about this. There's no reason for you to transit to another map. Unless maybe like you can't get to your other extract for some reason, so you just take the transit. But no, because you're just going to go into another raid and your problems are going to persist. Unless it's like a person in that raid is the problem. Like maybe you're getting chased, or maybe you're getting exit camped. Like something like that. That's all I can really think of why you'd want to go to a different raid. I don't know. Tripwire, these things down here make it somewhat bearable, but I will say I don't see a reason for this being added into the game. I think you're going to see these decently often to the point where they're annoying. I don't really think they're going to promote healthy gameplay. I don't really see a world where they're actually going to be that fun. It's just promoting more camping, but they're not egregious because of these options down here, I feel like, these four. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're great, to be honest. They seem kind of iffy. Bipods and weapon mounting. This is really cool, and I think they probably did it in a decent way, other than the fact that I think bipod should just be one button to mount, and if you have a bipod, the bipod automatically activates. But it just promotes more campy gameplay. Like, I love LMGs, and I think a bipoded LMG is super sick, but I do think it just promotes super campy gameplay. So this plus the tripwires, I don't know, it just adds a lot of camping, I feel like. But maybe the Partisan's supposed to, counter that. But, like, what counts as camping in the dev's eyes? You know what I mean? Just hanging in one location too long? That kind of is gameplay limiting, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. The gear rack, this is a big plus, I feel like. This is a cool system. You can make your gear, like, look cool. And you can maybe set up some extra kits. This is cool. Just all good there. This, a little bit of a pay-to-win feature. The fact that Unheard Edition gets it for free. I do think that it's kind of nice, this thing, that you're able to get some items that you need for tasks, just in case you have some really difficult tasks. So it's kind of like a scav junk box that you can target farm, if that makes sense, for things you specifically need. I think it's kind of like a quirky little thing. I don't really think it's that great to have in the game, but I don't hate it. I don't think it's that bad. There is some other quirky stuff, like the gym and the scav junk box. I do hate that the Unheard of Edition gets it for free. Pay to win shit, kind of silly. That is one thing I was concerned about going into this wipe. More pay to win features. That is one small pay to win feature. It's small, but it is still there. AI stuff. This is really nice for PvE. It was something that was desperately needed for PvE to feel like an actual game and not just like a test mode. So it's quite good that they've added that. It's nice. New weapons, always a plus. Desert Eagle's a big fan favorite by a lot of gamers and stuff, so it's cool to have that in the game. M60, the pig, is pretty fucking cool as well to have in the game. It honestly looks pretty fun. Uzi, also big fan favorite. Super cool to have that in the game. SR3M, I'm not sure how much use that's really going to get, but extra guns are extra guns. Updated weapon models, doubt that's really that impactful. Some new attachments, always nice. Some extra animations and stuff, always nice. Some new types of equipment, armor, helmets, loot, always nice. Being able to adjust the zoom, super nice. That's a big nice thing. Being able to select grenades, super nice. Manually entering mouth sensitivity, that's super nice. Making these tasks less annoying is nice. Removing the trade offers for Class 6 body armor is nice. That is a big change. The availability of ammo on the flea market, I don't think this fixes anything. Like I said earlier, I think that armor is still going to be, people are still going to be insanely tanky. All this does is make people able to kill people relatively decent speeds while they're wearing bad armor. But if you're wearing good armor, like the higher end stuff, you're going to be tanky as fuck still. So it doesn't really fix anything. It just fixes the early game and then they fixed the like extreme cases later on. So it's like they fixed like the early game and the early / mid game, but they did not fix the mid / end game, if that makes sense. But they did fix like the end game, if that makes sense. It's like kind of weird. Like they only fixed like the 2 least important parts, if that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say actually the mid / end game and the early / mid game are like the most important, and the early game. Like the high end gameplay of Tarkov, like the end game is like kind of stupid. Increase the damage of 7.62, 545. I think this is actually pretty nice. Big buffs there. I like it. They both kind of needed it. 7.62 less so, but still a buff is nice. 545 definitely needed it. 9x21. I don't think this bullet needed it, but maybe it'll make more people use it. It's only for 2 guns in the game, and they were already pretty decent guns, so I don't think this was needed. Reducing 556 is nice. A little nerf for 556. It was kind of overused, so. Equipment clipping is nice, but it's not really a big deal. Who cares? More animation smoothness. This is all good things. This is kind of whatever. So some nice quality of life stuff. Sound improvements. This all seems good, but I'm not a sound person. I don't know how all that stuff works and the technical side of it. This is all kind of technical mumbo jumbo to me, but it seems very promising, and it's good that they're putting in a lot of work to improve the audio, it seems like, so that's a plus. Adjusting the active headsets, making them more realistic, making them smoother, making them more like audio, like audibly pleasing and stuff, and work better, is a plus. It's a plus. I do hate that you pretty much have to wear a headset in the game, but it is kind of just how Tarkov is these days, and I think you kind of just need to get used to it. I don't think it's gonna happen. A little bit of anti-cheat stuff. Cheaters and anti-cheat is always like a arms race, so this isn't going to do that much, but it is nice that they're, working on the like most common cheats. And I think that's mostly it. I did talk through all of these things. I can't remember which ones were standout, but there was some pretty nice ones in there, but nothing too major from what I remember. I think that's about it. So my 3 issues going into this wipe were pay to win stuff, flea market, and I think player scavs as well personally, but it wasn't a new thing. Player scavs have always been an issue in my opinion, and the armor system. And pay to win, there was a small pay to win feature added, a small one. Player scavs are unchanged. Armor is slightly better, but the actual armor system itself is still really bad, but it's slightly better. But the main problem that I feel like with the armor system, like tier 5 armor with tier 3 underneath, just everybody being super fucking tanky, is not fixed. So that hasn't really changed. And the flea market is unchanged at all, which is really awful in my opinion, especially for a fresh wipe. So the problems that I have with the game are all pretty much there. Nothing that I'm worried about going forward is really but changed. I'm glad to see that they haven't added in any crazy pay to win stuff, but I don't think they'd do it on wipe day. They're probably gonna wait a little bit, but maybe they would do it on wipe day because people will be excited for the wipe. I don't know. We'll see. The flea market is a mistake in my opinion. The current way the flea market works. The armor system is dumb. It's just flat out fucking dumb. The fact that we're going on an armor system that we already know is broken and just doesn't work, and we went away from in 2018. Why are we going back to something that we know is broken 6 years ago? That's just silly. Oh, hello. Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. How was your stream? What were you playing? What is up, Samboni? What were you playing? Hopefully you had a good stream. Hello. Back into it I go. What does that mean? Thank you very much. combo randomizer of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Interesting. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Back into streaming. Ah, okay. Congrats. Congrats. Hopefully it was a good time. How are you playing the randomizer? Is it like an emulator? Like an emulator? Or are you not allowed to say? You might not be allowed to say, actually. Emulator. Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you very much for the raid. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you had a good stream. We're here talking about the Tarkov patch notes. Close to wrapping it up, actually. Pretty close to wrapping it up. I think I've pretty much talked about everything. What else was I going to say? Flea market is a mistake. Player scavs are still a massive issue. Player scavs are still a massive issue. I think that most people don't regard them as an issue because they kind of slow down later in the wipe. But it's obvious how broken they are and how much they ruined like the essence of the game and the economy. But I think that a lot of people depend on player scavs to actually be successful. So it's a shame that I don't think they're going to be able to change it or want to change it anytime soon. But that's a bit of a lesser issue. I do think it's quite a big issue, but not as many people agree with me on that one. So that is just my opinion. But I do think it's a pretty strongly backed opinion if you look at like the facts and the way things actually play out. Shut it down for some food, so I gotta run. Oh, it's all good, man. Thank you very much for the raid. I do really appreciate it, and I hope you find something good to eat. I can totally understand that. When I end my stream, I'm usually fucking straight off to eat food, go to bed, or do something that I have to do. So it is all good. Hope you find something nice to eat, and thank you very much for the raid. Hopefully your stream was good, man. Hopefully your stream was good. Yeah, I think that's about it though when it comes to the Tarkov stuff. It was interesting to read, but yeah, I'm not tempted back into the game. I do think that I was right that this is a smaller content update. It's nice to see that still rings true. I think it makes sense. I mean, like, you know, they're not the biggest of studios. They're not the smallest either at this point, but they're not the biggest, and they only can put out so much content. There's like a decent chunk of content here, but it's nothing crazy. I do think that there's some good changes towards the actual quality of the game and the quality of life, but I also think that the actual gameplay elements that I have a problem with are still very much issues, which is a bit of a shame. So I don't know. I think that this doesn't really fill me with much hope for the future because the flea market stuff, but they haven't pushed anything that I have a problem with in the wrong direction. That's one thing. They've just kind of stayed where they are. Other than the one pay to win thing, the armor changes, actually, there was some good armor changes, but there was also that one pay to win thing. But otherwise, they've kind of just stayed stagnant in terms of my issues with the game. So potentially, next wipe, they will be pushing it more in a good direction based off of whatever kind of feedback and data they collect from this wipe. So I don't think this wipe is going to be very exciting or last very long, to be honest. But the fact that they're dropping an event with the wipe feels like a waste of player retention that they could have saved for later on. But maybe they have a lot of stuff planned. I don't really know. Unless this wipe doesn't last that long, it could potentially not last that long, but I think they're going for like a 2-wipe development cycle where every 6 months they wipe. So it feels like kind of like this one's not going to last that long, but maybe they will have some events and stuff to keep people interested. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And it'll be interesting to see if they do some big sweeping gameplay changes mid-wipe and stuff, which they usually end up doing. But we'll see. We'll see. But I think that is about it for the Tarkov stuff. I don't plan to play this wipe. It doesn't interest me. I don't think the game is in that good of a spot, personally. Not because of this update, but just because of the state that the game is currently in for the end of last wipe, like half of the last wipe. And these changes don't really push it in a better direction, I feel like. Not enough for me to be interested in the game. And there's also just a lot of other stuff I want to play. But I did want to read the patch notes and talk about them and kind of go over them a little bit, because I obviously did play like 8 months worth of Tarkov, and I know there's a lot of people who watch me for Tarkov, and I kind of just like reading stuff like that and talking about my opinions regardless. The next thing that I wanted to do after the Tarkov patch notes is watch some game trailers and stuff like that, because I am not just a Tarkov player. I don't plan to play Tarkov anytime soon, but Tarkov is something that I very much love and is near and dear to my heart. So I do always keep an eye on Tarkov. I do always kind of keep it in vision, see what's going on with it, keep track of it, that kind of thing. But I play pretty much anything and everything, so, and I don't plan to play any Tarkov. If you're here just for the Tarkov stuff, if you enjoyed, you can hit the follow button down below before you leave. Like I said, I don't plan to play any Tarkov, but chances are if you enjoyed my stream at any point, I'll be playing something that you're interested in watching in the future. So if you hit that follow button, you can always keep an eye on what I'm streaming, and if it interests you, you can hop back in if you see me on your follower list streaming something you like.